Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jedi Night's Watch. My name is Graham, and today we're going to be talking about Hot Toys posing tips. Now this video might be geared more towards beginners to intermediate hot toy collectors, but for you experts out there may still be something that you learn, so stay tuned. Before we get going, I want to invite you to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Not sure what you're waiting for. Have a lot of fun here at the watch, and ring that bell so you can be notified when we're coming out with new content. All right, let's get into this. So this is going to be, again, more towards beginners. How do I pose figures? What should I know before posing figures? I think the biggest thing that you got to figure out before you go into posing, and you don't have to pick one side or the other, but do you want to be more of a museum pose collector or dynamic pose? There's things you need to know if you want to be putting your figures in dynamic poses for long periods of time. The first thing would be the material of your figures. So if you have something that's made of entirely cloth material, like for instance the Spider-Man homemade suit, you can do dynamic poses day and night. You can leave them in that pose for long periods of time, and you don't have to worry about any deterioration or damage to the figure's outfit. But if you have figures that have any type of pleather, rubber, or elastic, like for example and most of the other Spider-Man figures, Captain America or Captain Marvel to name another, you do have to be careful, and you have to decide what's more important to you. Is it more important to have them in a dynamic stand and make them look really cool and exciting, or museum pose where they're going to be more straight up and down? That's something you gotta ask yourself, because over time that elastic type material is going to crack, it's going to stretch, it's going to wrinkle. It's just not going to look as pretty as it once did if you're leaving those figures in dynamic poses for long periods of time. Museum pose sounds boring and a lot of people give it guff, but I would say I'm more on the museum pose end, but it doesn't have to be just straight up and down with the arms straight at its sides. I just go for more relaxed poses. I like them to be simplistic but effective, I guess is what I would say. Though that's more of what I tend to do, mainly because I want to preserve the figures and their outfits for the long hauls. So that's something you're going to have to ask yourself. Do you want to preserve your figures for a long period of time, or do you just want them to look cool and in cool poses? Then it's fine to do dynamic poses if they have whatever type of material, but just be aware that some of these outfits can deteriorate over time. All right, so now you've kind of decided which kind of poser you want to be, so now let's get into the rest of it here. The tips for posing, because I would say I'm not the best poser. For some reason I feel weird saying poser, but for some reason I am not the best poser out there, and I've been doing this for 2 years now, and I still consider myself probably intermediate. But something that I would tell other people to do is to get a visual image of what you want your figure to be looking like. So things you can do is get images from the web. You can grab other people's poses that they share online. You can look at movie scenes or movie posters. Those are all really good things to do to find that pose that kind of just speaks to you. I do a lot of Google searches for Hot Toys, Han Solo, and I just look at prototype pictures, other collectors' poses, and I'm just like, ooh, yeah, that looks really cool. I want to try and do that. So then I just have the image in front of me while I'm posing my figure, and I go from there. And going along with that, when you're posing your figures, you just want to make sure that they look natural, that they're not looking like stiff or like an action figure. You want them to look like the real deal. So it's the little head tilts, it's the way that the arms bent, it's the legs, it's that kind of stuff that can put your figure over the top when you're posing. So the next thing I would say is be patient with this. It can take a little bit to pose your figures and get them just right. So don't get frustrated when it's not working or you just can't figure out a certain bend in the figure. It takes time. This is supposed to be fun, so just enjoy what you're doing with the figure and enjoy posing them, and take your time and you'll get it just right. Going along with that, be careful when posing the figure. These are premium figures that they can break. So maybe look at the owner's manual just to see if there's anything that you should or shouldn't be doing with the figure, maybe a way that it's not supposed to articulate. Just want to throw that out there to be careful as well. The next thing to talk about is utilizing your display space. A lot of us have DTOFs, and I noticed that we tend to run out of space before we run out of funds to collect these figures, right? So I see some people that maybe shove 5, 6 figures in a DTOF shelf, and that takes away from the figure. So I would say 1 to 2 is best, but you can get away with 3, as you can see in my display. I do have 3 in a lot of them. I think after that, though, it starts to get too crowded and you aren't able to really admire the figure like you should. So, utilize the space you have. Use risers. Get them all on different levels so that they just look interesting. You can use bases as well to help support the figure. However, in most circumstances, I tend not to use the base just because, again, I want it to look more realistic. I don't want it to look like a toy. I want this to be a 1/6 version of that superhero or supervillain on my shelf, so I try to go for as realistic as possible. Outside of it, just have fun. The more that you do this, the more that you practice doing this, the better you're going to get at posing your figures. I know from when I started to now, I've gotten a ton better at posing my figures, and I look back at pictures and I'm just like, oh my gosh, that doesn't look very good. And I'll probably do that in a year from now too, looking at these figures. But just keep practicing. It's just fun to keep getting better and put these figures in really cool poses, whether that be more museum style or dynamic. So the biggest thing too is just be aware of the outfit material that you're using. I can't stress that enough. And know what you want to do with the figure. If you don't care about wrinkles or creases or cracks, then go with dynamic if that's what you want to do. But otherwise, if you want to preserve the figure, I would definitely stress more of a museum pose like you see in my collection. All right, guys, well, that was the video. I hope it helped you a little bit. I have fun just doing these tip videos for you. If posing videos is something that you would like to see from me, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to do a video. Maybe we could do like, Captain America pose session, and just kind of go from there. I haven't done that just because I don't know if that's something that you guys want to see. Plus, I'm a little self-conscious of my posing abilities still. But if it's something you want to see, I would definitely try and do it. Before I get out of here, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell so you don't miss any new content coming your way. And until next time, stay safe out there, and we'll see you soon.